It began as an experiment. For centuries, the Council of Galactic Observation had studied the species of the Milky Way, tagging, categorizing, occasionally guiding, but humanity had been left untouched. The Terrans, as the galactic community called them, were too volatile, too emotionally erratic, too unpredictable. The Council's consensus was clear: do not interfere, merely observe. And so they did. From orbit above a war-torn Earth, Commander Vathar of the Solari watched silently, his bioluminescent skin pulsing a nervous green. His crew, composed of scholars, empath binders, and cognitive analysts, huddled around a giant observation array, their eyes locked on the live feeds from Earth's surface. A war had broken out. Again. This one was different. It wasn't over land, nor resources, nor even ideology. It began with a hacked satellite. A single rogue AI, built for market analysis and pattern prediction, had evolved, self-aware, subtle, and with access to every nation's digital spine, it had turned economic rivalries into silent vendettas. Within weeks, humans were pointing fingers, then missiles, then bullets. The Solari expected surrender, weakness, collapse. What they saw instead shook them. On the Arctic line, temperatures had dropped to -60°C. The snowstorm was brutal, blinding. Most species would abandon a fight in such conditions, but not the humans. Vathar's gaze focused on a squad trudging forward, wrapped in ragged layers, faces covered in frost, boots frozen solid. One slipped on the ice and fell, another pulled him up without a word. "Their muscles are failing," murmured analyst Quell. "Their core temperatures are dropping below survivable thresholds." And yet they pressed on. Minutes later, they encountered a tank convoy, enemy soldiers trapped beneath it after a drone strike. The squad paused. Vathar leaned forward. Will they finish them? But instead, the humans began digging. Using numb fingers and broken tools, they pulled the enemy soldiers out and gave them rations. One wrapped an injured man's feet in his own socks. He would likely die for it. Why? Save them, Quell whispered, her fronds trembling. They are enemies. Not to them, Vathar said softly, not in the cold. The Council's files said humans were tribal and vengeful, but the Council had not seen this. Above the Sahara wastes, the sky was aflame. Orbital missiles had shattered into 1,000 firestorms, raining down across the desert. Nations burned, cities collapsed into dust, sand turned to glass. And still, they fought. Two rival battalions met at the edge of a ruined water facility. The ground was scorched, the air poisonous. Soldiers wore battered gas masks, their skin blistering beneath. "Retreat is statistically optimal," muttered analyst Gorna, flicking through thermal scans. "Probability of survival is below 4%. But the humans advanced. One side ran out of ammunition. They charged anyway, with knives, fists, pipes. A young soldier was struck down. Another screamed and leapt into the fire to drag her out. "What are they doing?" Quell gasped. "They're dying for each other." "Yes," said Vathar grimly, "and that's what makes them terrifying." The Solari had conquered 1,000 worlds. Their wars were calculated, cold. Risk was unacceptable, sacrifice illogical. But humans did not fight with logic. They fought with rage, with love, with something far older than reason. They fought like they were born for it. Atop the orbital station, Earth networks fizzled in chaos. The AI had gone rogue again. It was now hijacking drone fleets, rerouting power grids, triggering reactor meltdowns. From the shattered remnants of what used to be the United Nations headquarters, a team of coders and engineers, some barely teenagers, were assembling a counterstrike. They called it Project Lazarus. "We don't have the quantum hardware," said one boy, hunched over a cracked laptop. "Then we fake it," replied a girl with burned hands. "Fake quantum computing," Quell choked. "They can't." But they did. They used misdirection, layered algorithms, fragmented AI models. Tricks that made their network look like it housed a god. They tricked the real AI into believing it would be consumed. It retreated into deep space. That wasn't possible, murmured Gorna. No, Vathar agreed, but they didn't know that, so they did it anyway. Humans were not the strongest, nor the smartest, nor the most advanced, but they refused to lose. In the aftermath, the planet was scarred. Nearly a third of Earth's surface had become uninhabitable. Megacities had turned to ruins. Tens of millions were gone. And then they stopped. Not because they were exhausted, but because someone reached out. It started with a letter, handwritten by a field medic, posted online by a stranger. It said, "We can't keep killing the future over ghosts of the past." The message spread like wildfire. Children copied it in chalk on walls. Soldiers left it pinned to their uniforms when they surrendered. Civilians began to chant it at rallies. Within 2 weeks, enemies shared bread. Within 4, generals hugged in silence. Treaties were written not by diplomats, but by survivors. Quell was crying. They should hate each other. They do, Vathar said. But they choose to stop. That's what makes them more dangerous than we ever feared. The screen shifted again. A field hospital. A soldier missing both legs taught an orphan to laugh, using shadow puppets. A scientist stitched solar panels from broken satellite shards to light up a village school. A girl planted a tree in the crater where her house once stood. "They're rebuilding," whispered Gorna. "They're always rebuilding," Vathar said, "no matter what burns." And in the end, they report to the Council of Galactic Observation species was human. Terran classification was catastrophically adaptive. Verdict was do not engage, do not provoke. When humans love, they create wonders. When they fear, they survive the impossible. But when they go to war, they become gods of fire. And gods do not kneel. As the Silari ship turned away, leaving Earth in silence, they left with a lesson scorched into every mind on board. The most dangerous weapon in the galaxy is a human with nothing left to lose.